G'day viewers, welcome to episode 16 of the Sunday SHITSHOW, and this week we have a very special guest with us, Serena Brooke, and we'll fill you in a bit more about Serena in a sec. Take it away, Geltchy.
Okay, first thing I just want to do is thank everyone that helped us with the previous episode with Ky today, getting him to the Australian titles. We do have quite a high goal, it's an expensive thing. We've had quite a few people contribute and we're now at the halfway mark of our goal. There's still a bit of time left. So you can jump on to geltchy.com.au. There's a link on the homepage. You can donate $5, $10, $20, $50. 100% of that goes straight to his parents to get him there. And just the response we've had so far, we're stoked. Beyond stoked.
And thanks to everybody that has put in so far. We appreciate you all, it's great. And I know Ky and his family are stoked. So anyone else, get behind it.
Yeah, so Stu, you've got a special guest here today, Serena.
Sure do.
You want to introduce her and...
Yeah, sure do. So if you don't know who Serena is, you've been under a rock. Serena, she won the Queensland and Aussie titles way back in 1990. Went pro 95.
Yeah, 95, first year on tour. Yep.
First year on tour. She actually won Rookie of the Year. And then around 98, 99, she was number 2 in the world. And basically rips, still does. I don't like surfing with her because she puts me to shame.
How do you think the tour is now compared to then?
Well, it's completely different to how it used to be. It's a lot more professional now, you know, like everyone's travelling with their physios and coaches and everything's organised before you get there. When I was on tour, it was more, you know, if someone had a sponsor or knew someone, then you could have a place to stay and you'd all jump in together and you might end up in the forest in France in a rental car, or you might end up, you know, on the beach in your ball bag. No one really knew. I was pretty fortunate. I had good sponsors, and so I'd a lot of times get to Europe and be like, oh, I'm sponsored by Dragon, you guys have got a place, you can come and stay. But I'd say it was a lot more adventurous back then.
That's what I was going to say. Definitely an adventure.
Thousands more stories and more adventures, and yeah, I'm actually really grateful and appreciative that I did the
Lots of bad decisions?
Depends. I don't think life's got any bad decisions. I think they're all
good
just
stories.
good stories. I'd say lots of adventures, and lots of amazing things you look back on and just go, wow, you'd never get away with that these days, and just the stuff you got up to, and the whole tour was like that in general.
That would have been before having managers, coaches.
Yeah, I mean, I had a manager in the second half of my career, but you know that it was before social media, so you know, I think about the stuff we all did on tour. I'm like, no one would have a sponsor, and like, you know, now you can't do anything, and you can't even be a silly kid and make a mistake, and someone's filmed it and put it on social media and hold it against you for the rest of your life, you know. Yeah. So the first, you know, I was kind of at the back end of my career when MySpace and all those first ones started coming out.
You came back on tour around 2008, didn't you? You had another go. Is that right?
No, I finished completely. 2010 I was off tour, but then I continued. I was sponsored by Budweiser, and we just continued doing surf trips and making movies and stuff like that for another. Basically, up until I had kids. Yeah. I did that till like 2012.
Blue Crush. Serena's on Blue Crush.
Yeah, the original surf Blue Crush. Everyone gets that mixed up
with the new one.
Yeah, I remember coming up with that name for that movie with Rochelle and Bill Ballard and everything.
Was that the one with Robbie Page? Or have I got that mixed up with somebody else?
There was an original surf movie. It was sort of like a documentary, a girls' documentary, but we came up with the name, and then obviously Hollywood bought that name off Bill. I think they paid him $50,000 or something, and then they did the Hollywood version of Blue Crush. But yeah, it originated with a surf film.
Wow.
Which we all came up with the name.
Sitting
around in Megan Abubo's house in Hawaii, actually, is where we all came up with that name. So
she's a legend.
Yeah, so it's to answer your question, it's very different now. Obviously, there's things that are a lot easier and more comfortable now, and it's a lot more professional, and there's all those things. It's a different era. It's it's trying to like compare 80s to now, and I wasn't on the tour in the 80s, more 90s, 2000s, late 90s, 2000s for me. But yeah, I'd say both have their advantages. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, good times. Now, I'll let Serena talk about it, but she's just done something really awesome, and she's come home with a silver medal from El Salvador in the World Surf Masters. So tell us a bit about that, Serena, because that's awesome.
Yeah, it was a really cool trip. I got silver.
Let's show them.
And the individual, I got silver, and then Australia as a team out of 28 countries got third. Yeah, the bottom. So, I didn't really even know I was going until like a month before, because usually, you got to do the regional titles, the Queensland titles, and the Australian titles, which I did none of them. But the girl that won the Australian titles, you got to win the Aussies to go, and they hadn't had it for so many years. I think they hadn't had it since 2013. Wow. So she was only 30, early 30s, so you can't go up in age to compete, and there wasn't anyone going, and they Surfing Australia had a vote on the board in the panel, and then said, would you like the wild card to go and represent Australia? Which I said, sure, I'll go. I've been in Salvador about 16 years ago, and I loved it, and I said, yeah, it sounds like fun, I'll go. And a lot of my friends that I did the tour with were going as well, so it was a big catch up. And yeah, but it was different for me. I haven't really properly competed since I left the tour, and that was 14 years ago. So, and there'd been no waves here for literally 2 months. It was pretty flat before I left ever. So I was like, oh God, I'm not really in shape or that prepared, but I went and didn't drop into the repechages, which was good, because then you had to surf more heats, and made the final, and got silver in the last 2 seconds. Actually, I was in. If you watch the replays, it doesn't even show my last wave.
No,
it says I got bronze.
Yeah.
So I could hear the hooter about to go, and I was paddling into it, and I was like 3, 2, and I think I just stood up on one, and then as I was bottom turning, the hooter went, and I just quickly smashed the last wave and got a 6, but I was a bit wave starved in the final. But yeah, no, it was a great experience, and overall it was good to get third out of 28 countries, and there was a lot of the crew I did the tour with, and I hadn't seen for ages, and so it was really cool to catch up with everyone, and it was a great experience. It was super fun. Everyone's like, okay, now you got to do the Queensland titles and the Aussies again to go back next year. So I was like, okay, well maybe I'll kick off hat and do a few of the open Masters events. And
So with that, being a former pro surfer, how do you fund that? Does the government pay for the Australian team like other countries?
No. We had to pay for it ourselves. Basically, there wasn't any funding. I think they just paid our entry fee, possibly, to the ISA, which I don't even know what that is. Maybe it was $100 or something. But yeah, we had to pay for our own flights and accommodation there.
Wow.
Brazil all got paid for by their association. Hawaii, like a lot of them all got paid for by their associations to go, because they're representing their country. Yeah.
Come on, Australia.
Yeah, we're really lagging, aren't we?
Yeah, Australia was like, yeah, you can go, but you got to pay for everything. So I think they gave us a uniform, like Irikanji's uniform, but that was literally it. They just said they don't have the funding, so.
Yeah.
We're such a surf-rich nation.
Yeah, they do get a lot of funding. Like they just got another $1 million grant, the HBC, for women's programs and club contests and all that. But I don't think that the Masters isn't their priority to fund or anything. So yeah, we'll see how it goes going forward. But yeah, I think in general it's pretty hard for people these days to get, like you were saying, with a young kid trying to get to the Aussies, it's pretty hard. There's people on the CT that don't have any sponsors.
Yeah, look at the CT. That's the impossible tour.
Yeah, and the amount it costs to get on the CT nowadays and travel, and it's always had that element to it, but it definitely was. Well, when I very first started, you had to surf through the trials to even get to the main event.
Yeah. That's right.
And the top 8 were seeded into the quarterfinals, and so if you got to that round, the prize money went from $100 US to $1,000. Yeah. So it was really like, oh my God, I gotta get in and break in and beat a seed to even get the $1,000, which
good money,
help pay for the trip, So that's how I got on tour. I literally would start as a wild card, get through all the trials, get to the main event, and then had to win the events. Like I won France, and I was winning the events as a wild card. It's the only way getting on and knocking them off. They were so protected and so seeded to get onto the tour, which I was able to do. But yeah, it wasn't easy. basically you almost had to wait till someone retired
Yeah.
and be next in line. So obviously it's a lot more fair now with the way they've got it. It's not as hard as, it's really competitive, but yeah, it's changed, you know, a few times. Obviously it used to be the trials, and then they brought in the WQS tour. Now they've got the tours to get onto the Challenger series, which is basically just the WQS, really. To get onto.
I don't know about the big grand final ending, but that's a little bit of a.
Yeah, it's.
I think there's people that have worked hard all year.
Yeah, and you know, the thing about having the whole year on tour is that, you know, someone that's got, you know, the year to, you know, the beaches and where the events fall and the timing, you know, your strong thing could be like, well, I go really good in big barring less, but that event's on in the later part and I've already been knocked off, or so it doesn't really get that much of a whole sense of the surfer. It definitely is advantageous to people that first part when they're on before the cart, if those waves really suit them and they're surfing and the conditions.
I just think the whole thing, I'd rather go back to the old way. You compete all year, your results count.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then it comes to the one day. I mean, Carissa's a perfect example.
Look at Carissa.
And it's not, I don't think it's right how it is right now. I think it's really unfair. Everyone that surfs on the tour thinks it's unfair. They're almost like illegitimate titles when it comes to just like, you had a great day on that day at that one event.
100%. And
you might have just scraped in and not even been in a final all year, and someone else has won 5 events and you got the title.
Yeah.
So I don't really agree with it either. But
it needs a big reset.
They're trying to do the whole. They were trying to base it off like, you know, like the Super Bowl and the football stuff and things. But it's surfing.
Surfing's not the Super Bowl. We always say surfing is not tennis.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't.
Oh, Bobby Martinez.
I was going to say.
Yeah, Bobby Martinez.
Yeah, exactly. So it's. Yeah, it's quite divided, you know, that really divided a lot of people, and you know, there's different opinions on it, but I prefer it when you've got the whole year and the person that's winning all the events has accumulated all those wins, and like a Carissa, and then they win the title. And you know, in saying that, it worked out perfectly this year because Katie was in the yellow jersey and so was John.
Yeah.
So they were the deserving winners. But if they had a shock on the day and got beat by whoever who hadn't even made a final or maybe one final or wasn't the yellow jersey, then that's that feeling of like they got ripped off. You know?
It's a bit of a wake up call for the WSL and the people following it and watching it. Like, it takes all that, like for the viewers and that, it takes their interest in that away when it's like, you've followed this person all year, they've done well, then due to one bad
it's almost like
heat,
it loses some
out.
authenticity to the titles, to the claim of the titles. Yeah, I completely agree, and I'd say nearly all the surfers on tour agree with that. Yeah,
because I mean, everyone has a bad day, you know what I mean? And if you're, you know, you do all these events all year, and you might have a couple of bad days in those events, but you're consistently
and then you look at the wave as well. So that one wave is going to definitely suit somebody over someone else. I mean, John obviously is an exception. He's amazing and everything. If it was at Pipe, if it's Trestles, it's Brazil, whatever, he win. But when you speak, you know, in a general sense, that one wave is going to definitely suit one of those 5 surfers better. You know, it's like Ethan was carving the hell out of everything, and they're like, no, we want to see just an air instead. So, you know, it's a subjective judging criteria sport, like the whole thing, and there's always going to be people like, I way prefer to see that amazing, polished, beautiful carving, you know, radical surfing than someone flying down the island and missing all the sections.
And we've lost that now too. We've really 100%. Lost that.
Well, it doesn't get scored, you know.
Yeah.
So it's that's surfing, isn't it? Everything's subjective, and there's different people that like different things. Some people, you know, it's almost going the way like with the coaching and. You know, China's just going and grabbing all the gymnasts now, going, you're going to surf now, you know, so it is going that route. You know, a lot of the training down the HPC now is on the Olympic tramp. It's all in the foam pit, it's all airs, you know, and it's going that progressive route. So, you know, the young juniors coming up, and like the focus is, you know, whip ends in the ski and using the tramp and using the foam pit. And if you can't, you know, step to that level, and skateboarding and airs, and so that's the way it goes now. You can't.
Power.
The women or the men, they can't. The young girls.
I've got nothing against the airs, but I want to see like the old days.
Exactly.
You know, a couple of big calves, a beautiful roundhouse cutback.
Yeah.
Come out of that into an air.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
And it's like some events they'll judge that, like
Yeah.
J-Bay or something, you know. But and then other ones like Trestles obviously just when we just want to see airs for that, you know, and all that beautiful carving and surfing of Ethan's they didn't really want to score. So
no.
It's.
And that rail game of Ethan is just...
Yeah, it's next level. I was good friends with his mum, so she had a similar thing, and it's definitely come through. I think his favourite surfers was like Andy, Joel and Mick, and it's a combination of all of those, So,
I suppose that's progression, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think as you get a bit older, you look back at that and you remember the things that you like, but now it's a whole new breed.
I mean, Ethan's amazing at airs as well. Like,
Yeah.
It's not like he can't do airs, he's amazing at airs. So, I agree. I'd just like to see them mix it up a bit more, you know, and reward that, the variety, because that's in the criteria, the variety. But see just what it is. But
So, any advice for any aspiring young female surfers trying to jump on the tour? Which
There's a lot.
There's a lot of them.
Sierra
definitely.
Kerr stands out big time.
Yeah, she just surfed amazing in that last event in the Philippines, and I mean, there's so many now. Like I was looking at some footage of the young girl from Portugal. There's that little Miss Chopu that's getting just giant stand-up barrels. She's about 10 or something, and she's doing air revs on the beaches, and so the talent is off the charts. I would just say basically that you've got to get in the air game, obviously, focus on that, and just stay true to yourself, stay true to your values, get around the right people, mindset, obviously with it being so competitive with the men and the women is really important. Your mental health, your mindset, your team around you, it takes a village now, to get on tour. So, someone like a Sierra, she's got a dad who did the tour when I did the tour. He's amazing support. And so, just look at it maybe as a multifaceted challenge, not just, you can't just be a good surfer.
Yeah.
You got to be good mentally, you got to be good physically, in a variety of ways. If you've got a weak spot somewhere, living on the sunny coast, just when I was young, I never went left really. I grew up surfing Moffats, and then when I moved to the Gold Coast, it was all right-handers, so I'd do trips to Stratty and learn how to backhand barrel ride, or I'd go to Indo and park at Macaroni's for a while. So whatever your weak areas are, wherever the girl
I saw you get good left foot.
I could go left, but it was a weak point for sure, because I just didn't have the time in the water there. Yeah. Same with Hawaii, I'd go and, that's the difference when I did the tour. You couldn't get on tour unless you did Haleiwa, Sunset, we had Honolulu as well, but the QSs, they were the 6-star QSs, so you'd surf macking Sunset at the end of the year, and that's how you qualified. So I remember first going to Hawaii, and I'd only surf the sunny coast, and I try to go out in big beaches and stuff, but actually I'd play a game with Bubs and Joel, and we'd be we used to play this game growing up where you'd just go out on a big closeout day, and you got to pick, you have to go this one, and we'd take turns, and it was just giant closeouts, so you basically have to just try to make the drop or throw yourself over the falls, and they're the kind of things I'd do to practice in bigger waves. But I remember first going to Sunset and just thinking I was on the wave, riding a 710 or something, and standing up because you got that feeling like you've got the wave. It's getting blown off the back and going, wow, trying to work it out, and people be like, no, you got to paddle halfway down the face and then stand up. And you'd be like, oh shit, this is so different, and riding these huge boards and all that sort of stuff. So it's just about putting yourself in that, in that wave, or get the time in the water there, and getting someone who's a specialist in that area, which most of them on tour are doing nowadays anyway. They'll go and they'll get the Bell specialist, or they'll get, get Ky, or they'll get people that live in that area, Rossi, whoever it is, and just sit there and go, yep, this is how this wave works. This is, go early, practice. So.
And what do you think the fun aspect of surfing? Do you think there's much to bring fun back into it? It's very hard in this competitive environment.
Yeah, I mean, they all let loose and had a lot of fun at G-Land or wherever they were. Was it G-Land? That was like a normal night on tour for us. Back in the day. You know, they're all talking about that. So, yeah, I mean, we had a lot of fun, but definitely there was the other side of it where people with addictive personalities would have a problem. We had a lot of, you know, alcohol sponsors. Kahlua was sponsoring the tour when I first started, and they take you to Hollywood and limos and go. Like that was the heyday of surfing through the 90s, 2000s. A ton of money in it.
Yeah.
You'd come out of a heat in wherever, everywhere. There was all the umbrella sponsors at Foster, or there was always alcohol. So you get out of the heat, and you know there was beer fridges in the contest area. You know, not Red Bull and water and coconut water. It was beer fridges. So you know you'd have the pack over there that had already lost. That was like you know, need a big bun. And you come out, oh damn, you just grab a beer and you know like
get into it.
Whatever. But you know if you lost in the semis or whatever it was, and that was just sort of a fun thing. But you know. For me, I never had a problem with that, but there was a lot of the that had an addictive personality, and it really took them out because it was just everything was on tap. On tour, there's the opening party, the closing ceremony, the parties in between, like all free. You know, you never paid for anything. Everybody was excited you're in town, so they all wanted to party with you, take you, and give you things, and it was all year long, every event. So you had to have a real, you know, sense of restraint in that way, so you know someone like me could play out a few drinks and have some fun and whatever, but I knew when to stop, and I wouldn't never drink before events or anything like that. But I did see a lot of people struggle with drugs and alcohol,
and especially the stress of being knocked out of a comp. You then let your sponsors down, your family, everything else, and you didn't have the tools that you have now. You know, like that's the thing they're teaching the kids at the HBC and the camps I do, and they're teaching them about the values and about mindset and resetting in heats if it's going bad, and it's all about, you know, like mental health and all that sort of thing. We didn't have all those tools and all that knowledge back then. It was just, you had to just get thrown in the deep end and work it out for yourself. I pretty much finished school and went on tour and had to work out going around roundabouts the wrong way in Europe, and just, like there was just like that many stories and that many crazy things going on all the time. It was really just, you had to just quickly click on everything and learn quickly. So
you should write a book.
I have so many stories. Most of them actually, Pauline Metz just did a book, and she rang me and said, "Kit, you know, my publisher's just going to ring you, and can you just share some stories?" But I don't think you want anything published. Like, what about this? No, don't tell them. What about? You know, stories about everyone's on tour for 15 years, but a lot of them are R-rated and just like crazy stuff. And no one would even, like, people say it all the time when we start talking about stories. I'm like, no one would even believe.
Don't let them skeletons out of the closet.
Oh, it's just tons of fun. You know, but I don't know. I could share some, but there's
I remember being young at one of the Newcastle pros, Sonny Garcia, had come and stayed at Luke Egan's house. Halfway through his heat, he's rocked up in a pair of board shorts on this freezing day. The heat's already halfway through, straight out. He's had a big night. And still went good. Like,
that was standard procedure. You know, people
these days
on the beach for the heats and stuff.
I imagine you'd actually be pulled aside and spoken to, and
I think Kelly did that for a while. Though. He used to just go to his heats late just to make it a bit more interesting when he was winning everything too easily. But
no, that's good. That's a good insight, I think, into good for some of the younger people and that listening too. You know, like those like Ky and
100%.
Trying to get onto the QS, and
it's just building now. You know, especially now you're not right into that. Just go in the trials and get to the main event, and then you know beat everyone, and then you have a tour. Like you have the steps. I mean, I had the scholastic. You know, like I went through that. You know, Taj sort of age group. So we had the world Grand Tiles and bowling. We had just focusing on one event at a time, and setting your goals for each event, and not getting ahead of yourself, but. It's a whole other world now.
I do feel the younger people in surfing, skateboarding and that, there just seems to be so much more family pressure on them at such a younger age. That's now, like 100%. Until they were 16, 17.
Oh, it's crazy.
You were surfing because you wanted to and to have fun if you stood out.
Yeah, it's crazy. Coaching now,
you see like, parents like at
so
12-year-olds, you must catch that wave.
Yeah,
you must
put it so much, and then generally they burn out and they just stop by 15. Don't want anything to do with it. You know, when I surfed, none of my parents surfed. No one, I think my older sister was maybe surfing for a couple months before me, and it was hard because you're a girl, so
Yeah.
you know, people give you shit, but you know, like I got in with the Winton Seaboard Riders, and they were like my family, and they were all super
good.
supportive.
Yeah.
There wasn't really enough girls. I used to go against Joel, like Parko, and his dad would, you know, take us up to DI every weekend, take us down in, you know, the Byron Bay Classic. So it was definitely you surfed because it was your passion.
To, yeah.
You loved it. You know, no one in your family could surf or
Yeah.
know anything about surfing, but you got into it because you loved
It
that.
was
And that was it.
yeah.
But now it's just like you're pushed in a way, but 2 years old, and that's what you're doing. You know.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they do have a lot of pressure, but you know, surfing, even being at the Masters in Salvador, like their whole motto and thing and is like a better world through surfing, you know.
Definitely.
And whether you end up just doing an Australian title or you end up, you know, doing the tour for a year or, you know, becoming world champion, it's about just those experiences that you get as a person and being a good human, and there's so much more to it than just getting on and winning world titles, you know.
No,
like
that's what you do with that
what the
afterwards.
richness that surfing brings you,
Yeah.
even just being a local surfer and competing in club contests, you know, like
Yeah.
there's so much more to it than just winning everything and you know,
I think
getting number
contributing
one.
is a big difference.
So yeah, so even if you just, you know, your goal is to just make an Australian title, like there's, you know, or you go overseas once with your surfing or whatever, you meet so many people, you learn so many things, different cultures, like surf trips to Bali, like just all the little things that your regular kids are not going to be, you know, exposed to that are such great life things, and you know, the friendships and the health benefits. And I think through COVID, like surfing was the #1 sport that grew more than any other sport.
100%.
We all know that's so crowded now.
It is a therapy, but
Oh, it's definitely
you've got
a
the
therapy.
sun, you've got the water, there's just that
It's just
calming
nature.
and,
Yeah, and you know, surfing's a very unique sport. It's not like, you know,
other sport like it.
snowboarding or wakeboarding. You know, you're on water, or you're moving on. You know, you're moving on something that's stationary. You know, surfing, you're moving on something that's moving. So it's almost like a dance with Mother Nature. You know,
Yeah, you've got no control
every wave is
whatsoever.
different, and every the unpredictability of it, and you know, it's not a line on a court and the ball's in or out. Even the subjectiveness of being judged, and you know, there's no black and white, cut and dry, in or out kind of thing with surfing. So it's an addictive, unique sport that you know, people try it and you know, you get hooked. It's like that whole one ear surfer knows the feeling thing. So
Exactly.
it's very unique, and it's I think mental health benefits it can have also is just amazing. Like, you know, as a surfer, you can be having a shit day, you go out for a surf and you come in, no matter what's going on in your life, and you're like, oh, I just washed it off, I feel better.
I know Stu and I over the years, you know, we've both struggled with things over the years, and he'd always come pick me up. Come on, we're going for a 20-minute beat. Just that 20 minutes would change your day.
Exactly, and that's life. It's being a human. You know, the emotional roller coaster of just being a human, let alone competing. It's just that's life. The ebbs and flows, the up and down, and so that's where. Even if it's 1 foot and you go out and you laugh with your friends and eat shit 3 times, like
gives you time to reflect.
That'll reset and it'll just change that. I think movement in general it will change. You know, scientifically it will change your whole outlook and your things, but like surfing, it's pretty cool.
That's an awesome insight into the world of Serena Brooke. That's
like my kids don't surf, they're just summer surfers and they'll just go along and ride along on a wave, but you know, even just to get them in the water, like 1 month swimming and just being out in the water, even if you're not surfing.
Yeah, they might pick it up more down the track and just don't.
Or they may choose to do something else.
Exactly.
Well, they play the drums and piano and violin and things, and they love surfing. But Scarlett will just go along and do a Mickey flip off and be like, "It's boring. I don't want to stand there." I'm like, "Can you just stand there and ride the wave and not?"
Yeah, my boys were a bit
off.
similar. They sort of surfed a little bit. They were all introduced. You know, one's a musician, one skates a bit, and the other one's just creative.
And they love it in summer when it's warm and it's you know. Tiny and they're like, it's freezing. So just sort of let them evolve and do what they want to do. But they do love the beach. Yeah,
that's awesome. So the giveaways, we've had the HD Holden giveaway we're doing for Chad Ribbons. Been a bit slow off the mark now. That's the giveaway that is the pinned post on my page at Geltchy. Chad's car, former Street Machine of the Year, on the Maguire's Motor X next year. he's agreed that if we get 500 likes, we're drawing it. He gets his framed copy, and one lucky person that likes it's going to get their own one-off. So jump on it, get on it. We don't want him to wait past Christmas. I do have a bit on my plate, but I'd love to see it done. That's one car I want to draw.
Yeah, get involved, viewers.
So yeah, so that's it for the giveaways. What's up next, Stu?
Music.
Okay.
So, Serena, what's been tickling your ears this week?
I'm going to listen to Justin Timberlake's song. It's called Summer Love, Justin Timberlake. Been listening to that a little bit this week.
Summer Love,
Summer
there you go.
Love.
Yeah,
It's a bit of a, so you get up in the morning and wake you up, have a coffee, go for a surf sort of song. So
that's
it's
nice.
fun.
Yeah.
That's just this week.
What
Awesome.
about you, Mark? What have you been listening to?
For me, I want to give a shout out to a local here to begin with. This was hard to come to my pick. That's Pricey.
Yep.
He's just dropped a new song, Bastards Never Change, and it's his typical pub rock, straight down the line, killer video. And
I like the name.
I'd been struggling with what to pick, and they sort of come a tie, but most of the people viewing this would know Pricey or have seen him at least once. So sorry, Pricey, I'm just going to move you like 1 millimetre sideways. And if you, I think he's on tour, I'm trying to think who with, but if you get a chance to see Pricey live, it is a good show. It is a good show. So, what came out for me is from a project called Soft Porn. It's something I, as an outsider, was involved in from its conception, from the discussion and that with the beginning of it. I don't want to go into the members and that of it, but it's dark electronic, which for some reason the last few episodes I've been doing that punk electronic journey. It's very reminding of New Order, Depeche Mode, even a little bit of The Cure.
I like all those.
It's brilliant. It's really worth a listen. I'm not sure whether this was one of the samples I got to listen to early in the piece, but this just got released this week. I'm not sure if there's a film clip for it. I know it will definitely be on YouTube and it's on Spotify, and the song's called Touch You Anyways, and it's good. And with New Order touring next year with massive stadium shows, which I think would be a little bit interesting because to me they're more a dirty, smoky, little venue band. There's a big resurgence in this, and I actually can't wait to see Soft Porn play some live gigs. I think that's going to be exciting.
Okay.
So worth checking out. As always with the music, the links will be on the website. We've got our Songs of the Shit Show playlist, which is growing every week, especially last week when we had a couple of intruders, the last episode. Jump on, have a listen. Who knows, you might find next band that you might like or be into. So, I'll hand it over to you, Stu.
My one, a mate of mine also, the Tasmanian Devil, put me onto for a listen, and they're called Scumbags.
Yeah.
And they're a bit of a grindy old punk sound, and they hail from the Ukraine, Russia and Italy, and they're all refugees that came together to form the band, and they're pretty good. They're worth a listen, and you can find them on YouTube. So
I know they've got clips and songs.
Yeah.
They're good.
It's an interesting mix too. That'd be good, bringing all those different backgrounds.
yeah, that's what I thought. I just thought, wow, and from the adversity that they've all come from. So
the refugee aspect would bring so much to the songwriting and to that as well.
100%. So it's worth a look, viewers. Check them out. Scumbags.
Oh, awesome. That's really good.
Yep.
So,
Fresh off the press, Geltchy.
yeah, this is a real feel-good story for me. You may have noticed I'm a bit slow on my responses to new drawings, and I'm sort of not on the back burner, but just focusing on a couple of other things. And lately, I've been working with I don't know whether it's a company, I suppose you'd call it a company or an organisation called NAILS, which stands for Nambour Adult Youth. independent services, and the focus of that organisation is it's not just a facility where carers go and care for them. The owner actually started the business because he's got a son who's disabled and he didn't fit in anywhere. So he's like, my goal is to do something to actually build them up to do what they want to do. So through that, he's actually set up a disabled martial arts academy type thing where they get graded and that. That's not quite what I'm talking about. That's just a little bit of background. So I was fascinated with this, and they actually have other work programs where those with disability can earn money doing maintenance work, other stuff where they feel like they're contributing into society. And just to see the buzz when you go there, it is, you know, it's just so good. So I got asked, it's funny, it just came up in a conversation, and some people didn't know my background, I didn't know what they were doing, and I got asked to log into the computer for someone, and they're like, these people actually want to start a t-shirt brand. And I'm like, what? Part of the reason I started doing this was to help facilitate something. So out of that, I want to give a big shout out to Luke and Mel. They have struggled, but they have worked their butts off, and in about a 3-week period they actually had to do a proper business pitch, business proposal, so it's not just make shirts. We had them drawing of a night, the t-shirts I've got, each letter they sat and drew themselves, and the goal is over 3 years to have them doing 100% of it and hiring other people similar to pass it on. Through that, and through Geltchy.com.au, I'm actually offering their stuff on the website. 100% of the sales goes to them, not even taking out the credit card fees, the e-commerce fees. I want to contribute to this, I want to see them grow. And anyway, they've done their business pitch, and people were astounded because when they worked on it, their 6-month plan, they actually didn't need money as the start, which you just don't hear of it these days. If you said you're going to start a brand or a business, you know,
Yeah, you're dead.
what are you going to do? So this is what's come out of it, and these are going to be available online. So they've come up with the name Crafty Chuckles, which is sort of fun. I love it. If you met these two people, it really represents them. This is their first design, which, like I said, they contributed 80% of that, and then I finished the design off. I took care of the printing and that. And over time, their range is going to grow. And yeah, I really want to get behind it. And, you know, to see the look on their face, them creating spreadsheets now, instead of getting up at 9 o'clock in the morning, getting up at 10 to 6 dressed, ready to do what's next. Like, that outweighs a lot of other stuff in my life, just to see that smile and that keenness. So that's the men's t-shirt. There's a girls t-shirt, which is just the same on a front print. Both of them are available in black and white. And like I said, they'll be available online, and I'm going to do everything I can to help these guys. And we're actually talking about looking at them setting up a market stall down the track. You know, them coming up with how they're going to sell it, which, mind you, they've got orders already. Like, they're doing good. So yeah, so all that in a short period of time. It was quite a bit of work, but to see this come out and the smiles on their faces
that's awesome.
is just, yeah, so big shout out to them, and a big shout out to Nails for thinking outside of the box and just not being another organisation, for being raw and having a go.
And Serena, you do a little bit as well, don't you?
Yeah, I've done some community stuff with Above and Beyond Disability. I've just got one lady that I work with who has MS. I do some nursing, Katie Rose Cottage, I do coaching, I do a bit, just kind of like mix everything up, do a bit of everything, keep life interesting. But yeah, no, it's really important to me to be, you know, part of all that stuff. It's just, I did also did some nursing and just like aged care. I don't do that anymore. But yeah.
How rewarding is it? Like, you do have some, not every participant's the same, you do have some that just not think they're entitled. Like, I feel for every single one of them, they haven't chosen to be born that way or to have stuff happen.
Yeah.
But there's some people who don't. But when you start talking to them,
yeah.
if you can find something they're interested in, like these two people didn't fit into the other programs, and I hope this paves the way for in 6 or 12 months' time, someone else has an idea and we can find the right person to mentor, to champion that. And
yeah, definitely. It's a really good cause.
Yeah, it's more rewarding than like hourly rates, pay rates, like doing that. You come home, I get home and my wife just tells me to shut up. I've heard enough about that and that. But I'm excited. I'm really, really excited. So
that's good.
So that's that. So, and other than that, we've got the Boydy Cup coming up November 23 with your Roomba board riders, and I've just done the sample shirt for that. So these will be available for all entrants, with a picture of Chris on the back and the sponsors. Yeah, so we'd like to shout out to DVA, ATW,
All Terrain Warriors,
Cage Warriors, Cool and Beach Hotel, and even snuck my name on the sleeve small. So once again, these will be available for some people online, mainly for the entrance. So Stu, we can put Chris there, and you're a close friend of Chris's, so you might want to tell us a bit about his story.
Yeah, Boydy was a good mate of mine. Boydy got taken by a shark actually over at Umbies, so that was a bit sad, and the Boydy Cup has been running ever since in memory of Chris. And it's just a good fun comp for locals and people that knew him. It's a great day, and his brother Nick, along with Roomba board riders, they put the Boydy Cup together, and it's just a good fun event. So
it's only about 80 entrants. There's prize money. It's
a great little comp. It's good fun. And a big shout out to Chris's dad Charlie. He's always there and gets behind and helps out a little bit. So it's a great annual competition every year. So we always have fun.
Yeah, it's good. And big thank you to everyone that's worked hard to get it happen. Cool and Beach Hotel done a pretty big fundraiser the other week, which part of that funds went towards Ky as well. But this was sort of the first comp of the Roomba board riders and the foundation of it. Yeah,
I mean, look, a lot of people love it, and Chris was just a great character, a really good fun guy, great surfer too.
Yeah,
he ripped, and we used to have a lot of fun in the water, Chris and I, and all the other boys. So
there's a lot of the young crew, well, they're a bit older now, but they really looked up and respected.
They did, and Chris used to help mentor a lot of the crew when they were younger at the comps and stuff. So it's a big thing. It's pretty special to all the locals. So
so look forward to that November 23rd.
Yes.
So as always, that stuff's available on geltchy.com.au. I'm actually not doing a discount this episode because this is stuff that goes back to these people. I don't want to shortchange them.
Yeah.
I'm okay to take a small hit in my hip pocket, but I want these guys to get the contribution and do that. So that's really be a bit of a somber day, good day of reflection, but his memory definitely lives on. And
there's nothing somber about it. Everyone parties for Chris. He loved the party.
Yeah.
So everyone has a good time, and that's the way he'd like to be remembered.
I think so.
Celebration of life.
Yeah.
And it's a beauty, they have a fancy dress comp.
It's fun.
It's different to your traditional comps, and it's so that's awesome. Underdogs, where are we gonna start?
Underdogs of the sunny coast.
It can be anywhere. So we'll start with your underdog, Serena. Someone you want to give a shout out to who you think's done a lot and not been recognised.
Oh, that kind of one. I was thinking of surfing.
It can be surfing. It can be anything.
Darcy Dyer is pretty good underdog. Ripper. From Noosa. I don't know if he's got a major sponsor or anything, but he's a pretty good underdog ripper.
Oh, that's good. All right, big shout out to Darcy Dyer.
There we go, Darcy. Serena's picture.
Yeah, that's good. What about you, Stu?
Well, I'm going to go with the band I was with. Like they're unheard of, and like I said, come from pretty hectic backgrounds, most of them. So Scumbags, yeah, they're my underdog this episode.
It sort of fits in with the feel of this episode. Like
Yeah.
we've spoken about a few tougher topics, but actually brought some good to them, and seeing that, and good to see them guys, you know, from refugee background making things
Yeah, definitely.
happen, you know, like, and I'm involved with some people from other countries and that through my wife and that, to see the drive and that they have when they get an opportunity.
And the gratitude.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
it
gratitude.
is.
That's sort of what really stands
It's
out.
a
isn't
wake up to
it?
you.
As
It's
opposed
like
to
Yeah.
our first world country.
exactly.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. So my underdog, I'm going to stick with the disability thing. I'm going to shout out to not the actual NDIS. I think that could be far better. I know there's a lot of funding being cut and stuff shuffled around. First of all, I want to shout out to the parents, because it's a nightmare to negotiate. You see funding being cut where they've had support and things changing. They don't understand why. And then to all the support workers, there's a lot of organisations out there, but to actually be a support worker and you watch the people working with them, it takes a special person, which I'm sure you, Serena, with the nursing home and that you agree. It takes a certain personality, a certain amount of empathy and understanding, and I think that's everyone that's had a go
Yeah,
deserves
definitely.
a shout out.
Definitely, and it's very varied. Like I work with a lady who has MS, but you know, then you've got people working with extremes of non-verbal autism, or you have, you know, like limbs missing. Like there's just so many different
aspects of
that. Yeah, definitely.
Tough job.
And once again, never ever underestimate them because of they can't speak, they can't do whatever.
Definitely.
Every single one of them has some sort of a skill or something they can contribute.
Everyone's
and I
got
think
talents.
for us, it's our job to help search that out with them.
Yep.
Yeah,
Or let them live that. Yeah.
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 That's,
Awesome.
thank you so much for joining us.
You're very welcome.
While we're
Thanks for
winding
having
this
me.
up, I've got something for Serena. You get your own board carry, Serena.
Oh,
so
thank you so much.
ever going on an adventure or around to one of the further points?
Yeah, when I'm taking the foamy around with the kids, actually,
you
that's
can
perfect.
you can carry a couple of boards in this.
Oh, can you? Awesome.
You can 3 without fins,
Ah, nice.
2 with fins, so you can have the foamy and your board all in one.
Mm-hmm.
Comes with setups for snowboards, kiteboards, all that sort of stuff. So if you're going snowboarding, you've got a kit there to carry a snowboard as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
There's a
That's
whole
awesome.
lot, so that's for you.
That's
And-
great.
thanks for
Thank
coming
you.
In this episode, you've also had Doom sitting here at your feet. Like
I
that's
know.
very rare.
Is it? There's something about cats. They love me. I've never had cats, but they always trying to sit on top of my head and do weird stuff. I'm like, oh.
Give him half a chance, he'd probably try.
Yeah,
So
thank you.
that's it for
Yeah,
episode
thanks.
16, I think.
Thanks
So,
for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool.
The Rose Between Two Thorns, viewers, there you have it.
That's it. I was thinking the same thing this morning. You beat me to it. All right, if you want to get on the good shit,
Get on the
Sunday
Sunday
Shit
Shit Show.
You.